for another Out of This World story from our space. Wife cheated after 27 years of marriage. A few weeks ago, I noticed someone enter my house on the recently installed doorbell cam, but never saw them leave. The next day, the footage was deleted. So after going into detective mode and starting the 180, my soon-to-be ex-wife knew me too well and figured out that I was onto her. She figured I had seen some kind of evidence and figured it was likely the recently installed doorbell cam she erased. I was in the process of installing in-home cams and voice-activated recorders, but she actually ended up confessing and admitting to an ongoing and long-lasting, about 1 year, pretty much the whole time I was away helping my elderly parent most of the week, affair, and that I deserved better. She said she's going to be fair in our divorce and will sell our house and split the proceeds. She is likely even to end up paying me alimony for some period of time or a lump sum. We'll split most of the debt, but the house sale will likely just clear that and leave a little to start over. It's so disappointing, so anticlimactic, so unfair. I'll admit I had let the anger build within me and wanted to exact revenge somehow, but there really is not many to expose her to who would care. There's no one on the affair partner's side to expose to. He's single, well divorced, and to be honest, was more informed about the state of my marriage than I was, clearly. It's not even a close relationship they had. It's not even likely this was her first time, but I just let it go without pain shopping for more hurt. It comes at a very pivotal time for me, as I am dealing with resolving my elder care issues and just don't have the energy or desire to fight for anything. She offered to try and fix things, but we both know there is too much pain and wrong with us already, and she has known how broken I still am over being cheated on before we got together over 25 years ago. Some scars never really heal. I'd recently started to realize that maybe my whole relationship was a rebound, but I'm a dedicated person and once I commit, I'm all in. I just did that too soon, I guess. Now, well, I don't even think people in relationships are worth it. I can't see trusting anyone ever again. So there it is. No confrontation, no revenge, no exposure, no reason anymore. Just two terrible, dispassionate lives torn apart, and now I have to find a way to rebuild myself without my pride and ego. Just another failure in a long list of them in my life. Life as I knew it is now over, and I just am moving on autopilot to handle things. I don't want to go home, but have to pack and get the house ready to put on the market. Then, I have to find an apartment, etc. I don't even know where I want to live. It's all just so crappy. I wasted more than half of my life on someone. It's all just a void ahead of me, and the only reason I get out of bed is to care for my parent. I guess not having kids is the only blessing. Since once divorce is done, I won't have to be in contact with her, but that will take time. Every time I hear her voice, it just opens up the pain again. My pain shopping is looking back at all our pictures and the otherwise good times we'd had. I just don't understand why I'm so stuck in the past and mourning something I thought I was ready to leave anyway. I lay awake analyzing everything I did wrong, how I wasn't ever good enough for anyone, why I deserve to be treated like crap, how crap my life is, and why I'm always the one on the losing end. Now I'm old, broken, and undeserving of this crap life. No hopes and no dreams, just alone in my thoughts. More thoughts from later last night. She hasn't even called or texted me since I left. I did say not to, and meant it. She knew I did, I guess. But not one more sorry? Not one are you okay? Is she just sitting home watching a show like it's just any other Tuesday? Or maybe not. F all, why do I even care? Sorry, insomnia and heartache are a terrible combo. Why do I even feel like this when I wanted to leave? Did she know I probably wouldn't have? Did she think I would just cave and come back? For what? Love? History? Certainly not for the sex. Is she just that over me? I guess her actions say so. Mine need to say who I am too. Who the F is that anymore? He's not who I thought he was, just last Friday. Well, I guess at least all of last year. That guy was a blind idiot. He was a chump. He may still be. He's definitely been a sucker way longer. He believed in something that wasn't real. Like living in a Marvel movie, without the cool crap happening. And in the end, not even really given a choice. That guy was just fired from the only job he ever really wanted. Replaced while still at his desk. He got to watch his replacement come in the door, and then before even getting to quit in spectacular fashion, just handed his things on the way out. F that guy too, he sucked. Sorry for the novel, but my life is a crap show right now. Update. My wife called me last night. She appreciated my apology and knew that things I had said were to try to hurt her. We didn't discuss too much other than her apologizing again and blah blah blah. I did tell her I would be coming home this weekend and that I needed her to not be there. It was kind of civil mostly, but I told her I don't care where she goes. I told her she can stay with her boyfriend since he's who she wanted anyway. She of course denied this and kept saying she wants me back and that we can work this out. To please give her one chance. That she'd never done anything like this and would do anything to make it up. I'll admit I wanted nothing more than to go back in time to any time other than the last year. That I would even go to the worst times in our lives instead of now. But I stayed strong this time and said I don't see any way we can be together now. That it was a year and I just can't imagine feeling the same for her. I only asked one question about it. I asked how many times. She was quiet for a long time, but I refused to say anything. She asked if I really wanted to know and that she didn't want to hurt me more. I just said I need to know. That's when she crushed me so much more. She said it was only a few times in the beginning, but after about a month it was almost every day that I was away, and even some weekends when she had said she was at the gym for about 6 months. But in that last few months, it had been once or twice a week while I was away. I almost threw up. I muted the call so I could let some of that pain out. So she had sex with him more times in a year than we have in the past 10 to 15 years. Like hundreds of times. More than we maybe even had in the beginning of our relationship. I wanted to ask more questions, but I was too hurt and ashamed. I wanted to ask if he was bigger, better, and what they did. What did he do that I couldn't? But I just couldn't take anymore. I just said again, you should just go to him this weekend so I can be alone at home and go through and get some more of my important things. I don't even have a permanent place to take them. I've been awake and went and got a bottle of good scotch. Now I have to work and take care of my parent hungover. Update. So as I thought we had agreed, I'm back at the house to gather some things. I get here and thank goodness she's nowhere in sight. So I'm gathering some documents and I had forgot what I left last weekend. Then packing some clothes and other things. All good, going faster than I thought, wearing my AirPods and playing some good tunes to keep positive as possible. Going into the basement and packing up a few things up from there. It's hard as hell, but I'm kind of determined to keep moving before I get to down. As I'm in the basement, I hear faintly over the tunes the sound of water running in the pipes. It's going for a few before I noticed. I walk upstairs and hear the shower going upstairs. I'm like, what the actual F? I make myself a cup of coffee and decide it's better for me to go out to my car. At first I was going to drive away, but stupidly, I just sit there in the driveway. I'm like stunned as hell. I start writing a longish, nasty text, but don't want anything like that as evidence or whatever. So I decide I'm just going to sit there and wait for her to leave again, hopefully. My new neighbor is walking by and stops to introduce himself because by now I'm standing outside my car having a smoke. I don't tell him anything, but try to be cordial. As we're about to part ways, the garage door opens and she's standing behind her car and asks to speak to me. I actually have to stand through the introductions from this new neighbor and my wife. Of course, we don't discuss much, and I think even he can see the tension and leaves. We go inside and I'm still dumbstruck. I ask her, why are you here? She proceeds to tell me she can't check into the place she's staying until later today and was at the gym. That freaking gym. And she wanted to shower and grab some more things. She figured I wouldn't mind. She said that when she came in and didn't see me around, then heard me in the basement, that she could come and go and it wouldn't be a problem. I just stood there wondering who the F is this person in front of me? Luckily, after a very brief and awkward apology on her part for everything, then a request that maybe we shouldn't be so rash while things are raw. Maybe we can try more counseling. She, knows we still love each other, blah blah blah. I just looked her in the eye and said, no. Please leave. I have things to do and you agreed to stay away. I said this is what you caused and went back to the basement. I just sat here typing this, trying to control myself and my blood pressure. But I just heard the garage door open and close, so thankfully, she's effing gone. Now I'm just a bit of a mess, wanting to get back to my state of busy and keep packing, but my bourbon collection is staring me in the face. I'll admit, I already had one good belt earlier. I know if I have another this early today, will be even more of a bust. Give me strength. Figured posting my thoughts would keep my hands off another glass of my favorite Jefferson's. Update. Not sure if these links will work, but those are my previous posts. Otherwise, check my post history. Sorry, this is still going to be long. So here goes. Sunday after another sleepless night, filled with packing things and much anguish, All of it was so hard. The memories, pics, and items we had picked out together, our wedding album, and other things just brought out more of the emotions I had been trying to keep in check. But I had pushed through and kept getting to the things I knew were most important to me. Unfortunately, one item brought me the most pain: the sealed urn with all of our children's ashes. We had planned that as one or both of us passed, we would combine our ashes and have a remaining relative scatter them together in the ocean near our favorite beach. Well, I guess that plan is off now. But here's the thing. I don't know if it's wrong that I want it with me. I mean, I know I have to discuss this with her eventually, but I really don't know how that will go. I don't know if we can have it opened and split the remains. That still feels wrong, like neither of us is getting them. If that is even possible, or even a thing. I will ask my attorney upon retaining, I guess. I didn't mention it to her since my confidence in her was below zero at that point. But here's the real reason for this update. Sunday evening, I'm about packed with things I am taking with me for now. I just wanted to have enough that if I could not tolerate coming back for a few weeks at least. Along with a few more important keepsakes, documents, etc. I knew she was supposed to return after 9 as we discussed, and didn't really want to be there. I had resisted the urges to dismantle all the electronics, reset the router, etc. out of spite. So I felt like the bigger person for once was actually coming out at me with the help of some supportive calls from a friend, some DMs here and comments, etc. Anyway, it's now about 7 and I am loading the last bits in my car. Well, guess what? No shocker here, I'm sure. But yep, she shows up. Comes in looking a bit shaken, but not nearly the look of death warmed over like I felt I had. She starts off saying how it looked like I was ready to leave again. If I really had to go so early, and could I at least talk to her? I was already frustrated that she was even there, and wanting to be stronger than I knew I was. I said I didn't want to be too late, and I had to get back in time for the weekend help with my parent to be relieved. That I only had a few minutes, but if there's something important she can tell me, and if needed, I could call her while driving. She then says she understood, but that she really needed me to know what was going on with her this weekend, and really wished we could talk without me being angry. She said she spent the weekend alone. Not sure I believe this, but considering all that had happened and what she's done to us. That she knew I couldn't forgive what she's done, but that she does and will always love me and be in love with me forever. That she knows I don't believe this now, but that she was so angry with herself for hurting me so bad and destroying the only man who ever loved her unconditionally and was always there for her. I was doing my best to just not shout, sob, hug her, or anything, and just give her this stoic look of indifference. I'll admit, I failed. My eyes watered up, but I struggled to not let the tears fall. Yeah, I failed at that too, but didn't really speak. I figured I'd just listen and hoped to still just leave after she said what she had to. I listened to her say many things and justifications, reasons why she thought she did this for so long, why she didn't stop herself, why even when she thought I knew she thought I just didn't or wouldn't care. How she had thought I must have been cheating for so many years, that she felt even if I wasn't, I traded her for porn anyway. How I never seemed to want her. How we had just been roommates. How she still knew I was the only man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. How she wanted to come to me so many times and confess, but that she knew I would never be able to accept it and her back if she told me what she did. At every point, she kept saying she knew it was all on her and that it wasn't my fault. That she was going to get counseling, etc., to figure out why she did all this for so long, etc. That our life together had been destroyed because we had everything she wanted, and that she had felt she could have lived the rest of our lives and never had sex again. That she had accepted that. That I could be with other people if I want. All seemed to be standard cheater speak. But as I thought, she finally said our conversation Christmas before last, she got really angry that I was actually scared of sex with her for fear of getting her pregnant again. That we hadn't gotten pregnant before without IVF, and I was just using it as an excuse. That she felt I never really wanted her or a family, especially when I didn't want to adopt. She caught herself getting upset more every day after, and the only thing she felt we were missing in our life was sex, and family, and how I had kept it from her. That she was so angry because if that was true, then she knew I had always blamed her for our child losses and lied every time I said I never blamed her. That she felt I was disgusted by her for so long because she lost them, and I could never let it go. But that all those years she loved me enough for both of us. That when my parent got sicker and had been out of the hospital, she thought I was just using it as an excuse to be away from her. That all at once, it had clicked in her head, and she knew everything she had feared was true. That she just wanted to be loved, and that I didn't, and was just lying the whole time. That the so-called gym guy was never even in the picture or a possibility until all these things got to her. That she had never even thought of being unfaithful. That she wasn't even very emotional with him in the beginning and originally did it the first time out of spite. That after then, she had realized how much she missed sex, and though he had feelings for her, she kept telling him it was only about the sex. That she had no intention of leaving me. She said she never really talked about me to him, but that seems like a lie now. But she had grown a connection eventually, and let him in some more, telling him she hadn't felt like this in years. But it was nothing like what we shared. She eventually got to the part where she again says that it was over and she was only hoping I could forgive her and please talk to her again to see if we could find a path forward. That even if we had to split now, could we take some time before divorcing? That she knows how bad what she did was, but that I had been dishonest for so many years about this and should give her the chance she deserved. At this point, I'll admit, I broke and said, "Chance you deserve for a year of cheating? I told you when I said about my fears in the past that I had worked through this in therapy long ago and had never said this before for fear of this exact situation. That no matter how hard I tried in the past few years, she just wasn't responding to anything. That all the things I was trying to do to reach out, be more engaged, more romantic, more connected, were just tried once or twice, and she never had put much effort in. That I figured opening up my deepest secret with her could bring us closer and show her that I just wanted her. But instead, she used it against me to cheat and destroy my life. That I was so destroyed, I was thinking of suicide almost daily. She said she had been thinking of doing the same, but couldn't do that to me. I admit I screamed at her then and said, "But you can do this to me? For a year?" But I calmed back down and said that I could never see being open and vulnerable to her or anyone else ever again. That now that I know how she weaponized my fears, weakness, and honesty against me, I would never be the same person. That I had feared this was a catalyst after thinking about everything last week, about how and when it happened, according to her. But that I was still not sure I believed her that she had not done this before. I was already about 45 minutes later than I had planned to leave. I knew I would have to rush up the highway and wasn't nearly in a correct state of mind, but left soon after saying I would think some more about what she said, and if I had questions or more to say, I would call her from the road. But while driving, all I could do was play some really loud music and cry in excruciating pain that my thoughts of causing this was confirmed. It was an even more painful ride than the first one I took after D-Day. I didn't call her again in the end, but now that I'm sitting here in the sobering light of day, I wonder about how I not only caused this, but also if there's even the slightest possibility that she's seen my posts and is using it to say these things. To be honest, she has no real social media usage, and I doubt she even uses Reddit at all. It was never on her phone, tablet, or in her download history in the App Store. Also, how I could be so stupid to let my guard down with anyone. That some things you just can't ever share. That if I had never opened up, I wouldn't be here. That this is only karma since I was at the point of leaving by last fall anyway. That I'm just moving on autopilot anymore, and this only proves I should just put up the front to everyone that I'm this happy guy and never let the guard down again. That everything I had, I ruined. I'm still having my attorney consult and trying to keep the path since I still don't know how I can come back to her after this. But the truth is, she just tore my heart open again and ripped everything I had been holding on to keep me going. Update. So I worked out a list of things I want to know per my therapist and others' suggestions. I think I've nailed it down to just these questions. If I miss something, I'm open to input. Note, my therapist says I should limit my time here, but clearly I'm crap right now at following any advice. I also decided that if it takes it, I will act like I'm offering reconciliation to get answers. To be honest, I just want the last nail in the coffin. I need to keep feeling more pain to keep pushing me through. It's manipulative, but whatever. But since I'm going to let her know today I have retained an attorney, and she needs to also, I think saying if she wants a chance, I need to know these things. I guess I'm also asking, should I give her these questions or should we actually meet again to ask them? Anyway, here goes what I have. When you first decided to cheat, were you already emotionally or inappropriately involved with this person? When and where was your first inappropriate contact, and what exactly happened? When exactly was your last contact with them, and what happened? Did you ever picture a better future with them? Did you discuss me specifically and my shortcomings? Was intentional disrespect for me a part of your intimate acts or communications? If so, was it initiated by you or them? Did you feel you were getting revenge on me for things I did or did not do? Do you resent me for specific reasons? What exactly are they, and how long have you felt that way? When you thought of me possibly finding out, how did you think it would play out? Do you regret having met me and our life together? Do I expect actual full honesty? Not really. I don't even know that she really cares, nor has for however long. I have ignored her texts and calls for a few days now, so I don't know when or how we will have this conversation. But I guess since I'm pretty much out the door, I need her to sink the dagger in as far as possible to close out this chapter fully. I posted a response to a comment last night that got flagged. Not really sure why the bots didn't like it. But it was about how I feel about it now and why trusting anyone ever again isn't worth it. I cursed in it some, but if it does or doesn't get posted, that's how I feel. Our first response comes from Cranach. I can only tell you one thing to that list in general, and to the idea of asking her these things. You want to ask a woman that lied and betrayed you for a long period of time to answer your questions honestly. Do you really think that this will work out? She will give you exactly the answers that she wants to give you to get to a certain point. Harsh and brutal replies if she wants to quit, or answers that she thinks you want to hear so that you give her another chance. But there's one kind of answer that you will not get, and that is an honest one. She couldn't even give you an honest answer if she wants to, because she has her own interests as well, and as soon as an honest answer collides in her mind with her own interests, she will lie. You want to ask a woman that lied to you for a long time, for who it became so normal to lie to you that it feels for her like breathing, to answer you your questions honestly. This will not work out. Update. Too much karma, or did cheating save her life? So this will be long. Be forewarned. TLDR at the bottom. It's been about a month since my last post on the crap that has become of my life and my wayward wife. I'm just doing this since things have gotten better and worse at the same time. You can check my post history if you want the lengthy backstory. Long story shortened. Wife of 25 plus years cheated for about a year while I was away from home most of the week taking care of my elderly parent. So good news is, my parent has been in a care facility for a bit over a month now and seems to be adjusting pretty well. I visit often and they are generally happy to see me and still recognize me most of the time. I have also packed and sold all of our stuff and hoping to complete the real estate transaction this week. I also have a better place to stay for the short term, with a friend who lives close to work and have moved in for the time being. I considered renting an apartment right away, but this worked well in the short term. Now to the rest of it. I did have her served with divorce papers, but she had her attorney respond in a contentious manner. Very recently, I had to deal with the maintenance issue at my old home. Luckily not too damaging, but significant enough that it had to be handled quickly. When I arrived to deal with it, luckily, I thought, she was not around. I met with the contractor and handled this and was to be out hopefully before she returned. It did take several hours, but I was able to move stuff in the way and get the issue fixed. Well, of course my luck could not be that good. I got a call from a doctor later that day that she had been admitted to the hospital. I am still her emergency contact and still her husband, so no real surprise there. Sometime before I had come over, she had called an ambulance believing she was having a heart attack. This proved to be a panic attack, but as told to me, she told them she was having constant self-harming thoughts and was admitted for observation. She had been in there ever since, so I had to call her boss and let them know she would be out for medical reasons for a while. After speaking with the doctor, I determined that I would have to go and see her. Her doctor said I was allowed to visit since she requested, but told me that if I did, I would need to be non-confrontational since she was still in a delicate state. I was in a very confused state of my own, since I really didn't want to, as it sounded like standard cheater script BS. But I still care for her and don't actually want her to harm herself and not be able to take care of herself going forward. She has in the past, due to totally unrelated issues, been in care for mental health a lot of years ago, along with another chronic health issue all her life. During that time, I was there 100% and did everything I could to bring her back from the brink. Also, selfishly, I don't want it to affect her ability to handle our business together. I was able to speak with my friend about it, and they said it's of course up to me what to do about visiting her. I also spoke with my attorney after the first couple of visits. They just stated to be cautious, not to make any promises or statements that could be used against me, etc. I knew before visiting that this is also kind of standard for cheaters to use suicidal manipulation. But considering her history, I am also aware that this is a very likely true and serious state that she is in. I know. I shouldn't be sucked in by anything that is just a consequence of her actions. I don't want to retard my progress in moving forward with my life. I just have a part of me that needs to be there for her. It sucks totally that I have these feelings and still wish none of this had happened. But it did. I feel like I have been very firm with her, but seeing her in such a state would likely cause setbacks. Before you jump on my case, I cannot abandon her. It's just not in me. She really has no one else. Her only real friend lives far away and is currently dealing with her own serious medical condition. So I let her doctor know I would visit her in the hospital and did so the following day. When I got there, she was a mess. I had brought some things she would likely need, as it sounded like she would likely be there for at least a few days. When I arrived, she was still sleeping with an IV in her and various monitors, none of which seemed mental health related, but I figured maybe dehydration or something. But all I could think was how I had seen her sleep so many times and how she always looked beautiful sleeping like the person I wanted to and so peaceful. As I was just sitting there for a long while watching her, she started to wake up and all the feelings of anger and betrayal started to come back. But I held it together. She finally woke up. Surprised to see me there, she begged me for a hug and forgiveness, etc. I said I was there to make sure she was okay, that I was worried about her, that I wasn't here to talk about us. We were pretty civil about the whole thing, but lots of tears on her side. We talked for a long time. Then she hit me with another nuke to my world. During her visit to the gynos for STD tests and checkup, they found something that was still being assessed. Oh boy, I thought, here we go. This crazy bee caught an STD, and I was going to hear about it. Or maybe, fortunately, not the case. She was found to have fairly aggressive ovarian cancer. Now, I'm no expert, but I know that usually that type of cancer is like a death sentence. I actually had to step out of the room to gather myself for a minute. I had all these emotions going through me and didn't want her to see them. I composed myself and went back in and we talked for a long time. In our talk, I eventually agreed to help her however I can, though I wanted to tell her how to get her boyfriend to take care of her now. But I was clear that it had nothing to do with us being together, that I thought she would do the same for me if the situation were reversed. But who knows? Her panic attack, it turns out, was the result of getting this news and her birthday, which I totally ignored, and getting served in the same week. So it's like the perfect crap storm hit her life. Too much karma, maybe? And she was just feeling like ending her life would be easier than fighting me and this disease alone, etc. Losing everything and now losing her life on top of that. That she also didn't want me to somehow end up bankrupt from her medical debt likely to be incurred. That her life insurance and giving me the house totally free now would make for a nest egg I could totally start over with. But ultimately, I convinced her that her being around and fighting this with everything possible is the only thing I want for and from her. That I am not a reason to end herself, etc. So that's what I have been doing for now. Riding up and down the highways for work, visiting my parent, the hospital, my friend's place, and now back to my old home for more things she needed. She has since been moved to a regular room, since her doctors have determined she is no longer a danger to herself. She has had more testing done, and today we get the results of what stage it is precisely. But we have been told that from the preliminary exams, it is at least stage 2B or higher. As she has a chance that it's not stage 4, that is something we can handle, I guess. If it is stage 4, we're going to have a shortened but terrible ending. I'm typing this up sitting in the hospital cafeteria, waiting for the oncology department to come give us more results and details. I am the type to do anything for anyone, and had her actions not driven me away, I would be a broken down mess. Not that I haven't in private. But once again, I am being the strong one for both of us and trying to stay optimistic, which is totally against my pessimist nature. Here's the biggest thing likely to happen if it's not a lost cause. She will likely have major emergency surgery and chemo, after which time she will need care and help. I have agreed to be there to help her get through at least the surgery, chemo, and recovery, if it's the best case scenario. I haven't said yet I would move in and stay with her though. That would likely be what I'd have to do. I also haven't explicitly told her, but it hasn't changed my mind about divorce. I have talked to my lawyer about what it all means, and if we can still be considered separated at this time. Which they say we can consider this period in-house separation during this time as long as certain things don't happen, which would be impossible anyway. My other question is how I can avoid incurring part of her medical debt from this, since it's likely to delay our proceedings. They stated we can amend our settlement agreement, but that she would need to agree that none of this is my liability. So is there any chance I can take care of her through this and not get emotionally connected again and still move on with my life, however this comes to an end? Update for those still interested. Met with the doctors finally. It's stage 2B and has spread, but still small tumors, and not to bladder or farther organs like liver, which to my understanding is almost impossible to cure. She will have serious surgeries and chemo. I had already decided I would support her in her battle, regardless of her actions. I'm not going to leave her to her fate without some support. I know most will say that's not my job anymore, but I guess I'm not able to be that hardened person I thought initially, or that someone here say I should be. Oh well, I'm too old to care what people think. I'm doing it for me. I will continue with separation and divorce. Unfortunately, I will likely be moving back in for in-house separation to help her for a while. I have talked with my attorney, though, about the plan. My lawyer understands my stance and says we can continue counting any time I'm there as separated, still, as long as we don't sleep together. Not a problem for many reasons. Also, we need to agree she doesn't make it more difficult, as it seemed her original plan was. I will make sure she understands a condition of my support is that she doesn't contest and drag the process out. But I will agree to give her time to get better situated. I admit I will feel guilty as if I am bargaining with her life, but I guess we all have our limits. She will be having surgery in the next few days for additional biopsies and major surgery. The treatment plan so far is really aggressive, but better to stop the spread now. But I guess I don't need more details than that. In all likelihood, as my post title states, her cheating has saved her life, as she would likely have caught this too late otherwise. So I guess someone in this situation gets a win. I appreciate all the comments and advice. I know the place it comes from is supporting, but know the choices are mine to make. I just want this part of my life to happen and end eventually. I know I can't keep feeling obligated to anyone besides my parent after this, though. Attachments only seem to bring pain. But I guess in the end, it's my fault for getting attached in the first place. I will continue to monitor this account and make updates, but for now, I guess this is my path to walk. Edit. I do plan to continue with the divorce, though it will not be happening anytime in the near future. But our separation will continue even when I have to move back in to help her. I felt really like it is the right thing to do. I'm just getting worried I'm getting in over my head, or that I will get sucked back in, or that I won't be able to be as kind as I think if I get frustrated. Thanks for all your comments. I appreciate them. Update. So I listened to a story about a man whose wife left him after 24 years. She didn't have an affair though, had some shady behaviors, and maybe something heading to emotional, but nothing really conclusive of an affair. In it, the wife seemed to do what we all who have been betrayed want. She ended the marriage as best she could, offered reasonable settlement, etc. The story details his efforts to get her back, but more importantly, how he eventually moved on with his life. He definitely had some bitter points, and in the end, when they divorced, had issues with her not wanting to try. I listened to the struggles of with being a nice guy, how hard it is to get over, begging her back, negotiating, trying to be friendly, giving her space, 180ing her, becoming a better, happier man, etc., for over a year, ultimately leading to the divorce and his life after. And while it may not have had the sharpest dagger to the heart that betrayal is, more like a dull knife sawing his heart, it was still a painful long journey. But in the end, he had some very interesting observations on relationships, how they ebb and flow, how circular emotional pain is between couples, and how one of them giving up ended up causing his journey to self-awareness and improvement. His last-ditched effort on their anniversary almost a year after she left was brutal and heart-wrenching. I guess just a small observation and question. If we long-time relationship people got what we say we wanted, i.e. talk to me about your unhappiness and leave me before you cheat, would that have changed the pain we actually have to go through? I mean, I hope it would, but I'm not that sure after you've been with someone a few decades. It seems no matter what we say we want, a person who gives up on us is still just that, and a lot of pain is going to be something we go through, sharp or dull. It hurts all the same. I believe I would have struggled as much as he did with it either way, but at least there was some respect she showed him. My biggest hope is that I can take the positive steps he did in improving himself. I started this post a while ago, and my story is out there in my history. I've recently been in way more contact than I'd like, but not getting back together. But I'm putting myself in a really awkward position of helping my soon-to-be ex-wife with her cancer battle. Though it's good to be insanely hard, I'm fairly confident I can eventually move on totally and not be in this quasi-limbo forever. But to be honest, as the days get closer to when I'll be taking care of her, I find myself getting cold feet about the whole thing. I feel like I'm setting myself up for a long and pain-filled time. In my heart, I don't regret my decision to help her, but I just have so much anxiety building over being around and with her and able to be compassionate and caring for an extended period of time. I've read books on being a nice guy, codependency, and know I have a tendency to white knight anyone in my life I value. But I don't actually value her anymore. I value what we had at best. but now I feel kind of stuck in agreeing to something I probably wasn't emotionally ready for. But I'm a man of my word and will need to find a way to do this and maintain sanity. If I were religious, I'd say pray for me, but I don't even think I deserve it since I'm going back into a hell of my own making. Anyway. Update. So not going to go in my long freaking history. You can check from my profile if you wish. Anyway, just updating since I'm in the hospital with wayward wife since yesterday morning, and it's been as crappy as the rest of the things that have happened. First off, she's in a bad state. Coded in surgery, which had to be stopped because of uncontrollable blood pressure, etc. They did remove a lot of the cancer according to the surgeon, but not all. She would need further surgery, but it's too risky at this point. She also had a seizure last night, which caused additional damage and hemorrhaging, and had to go back into the surgery again last night, even though it wasn't advised earlier, to stop the internal bleeding. She got out of that surgery earlier this morning, but has been in and out of consciousness. They are doing everything possible to keep her from having a stroke at this point. I'm not sure she's going to make it, but I'm just going on no sleep for 2 days and imagining the worst. She has been a little more stable, but it's still a very touchy situation. More stuff is that I used her work phone while waiting for her initial surgery and saw a message from her affair partner from about a week ago from an unrecognized number. I had seen that she had his other number blocked on it, but kept their conversation as I requested. In it, he was asking how she was and apologizing for how he treated her the last time they saw each other. There's a whole story there that I don't want to get into, but it was something that happened because I tracked him down and was about to do something stupid and dangerous. It caused him to reach out to her, at which point she bargained to meet with him so he didn't get the law involved. But still happened. This was almost a month ago. Anyway, I did see her response to him that he was the biggest mistake of her life. She hated herself for even meeting him, and she would never be in touch or see him again. And that for the safety of all involved, please don't contact her again. Now I don't take this as anything since I found this, and it's not something she admitted to me. So I guess she still has her secrets. Though I was able to go through pretty much everything, everywhere, including her work emails and personal accounts. I also looked back pretty far from before last year and found nothing suspicious before then. Again, it doesn't change my mind about anything divorce or helping her, really, so I guess I'm just ranting since everything is so effed up right now. She may live or die, not ever knowing that I know this, or that the only thing it proves to me is that she's still capable of lying to me. I don't even know if we will ever have the chance to talk about it. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point anyway. So either way, I may be done with my post at this point since nothing else really matters if she's not alive or has some brain damage or is in a worse state than expected. I'll still do what I can for her and hope for the best. But in my nature, I expect the worst. Best I can hope for is to get some actual sleep before week's end. Thanks to all who have supported me here. You don't really know how much you helped me. Our first response comes from Cranach. You are more of a man than many men I have met. I hope that she makes it, and much more that you will experience something positive for yourself as well. Try to stay strong and true to yourself. My thoughts and hopes go out to you. Realistic Brother 544 says, I'm just amazed at what you have had to go through as I have followed your tale. You are a man of character and honor, and I hope the very best for you. This is me 3022 chimes in. OP, think plane disasters. Put your oxygen mask on first so you can help others. You need some rest and sleep. From prayers to you and your wayward spouse, hoping for the better. OP responds, Thanks, I know I need to rest, but I can't even nod off while waiting here in her room. I'm going to have to go see my parent too soon since it's been a few days, but I'm worried if I leave I won't be here if something happens. Just fueling myself with coffee and anxiety right now since I didn't bring my meds with me for more than yesterday's dose. Hopefully tonight will be better and she will stabilize more so I can at least get my meds and maybe some sleep. But I can't imagine not being here if something worse happens. Our last response comes from NC Deep Diver. Staying and helping her after what she did to you is commendable. I couldn't have done it. Good luck to you, and I have a lot of respect for you. One thing I know for sure, the next woman you meet that is worthy of being with you will thank her lucky star she found you after hearing your story. Good luck.